From CNN to 2020, Nightline, Dr. Phil, Fox News, and The Tyra Show, it seems like everyone's been covering transgender children. Some of the coverage is fair and accurate, but unfortunately, some is steeped in transphobia.
We have two women raising a child. He's adopted, and he's come to believe that he too is female. That argues for a complete psychological evaluation to see whether psychological forces are at play here to make him say such things.
The mainstream media is all over the topic of transgender and gender nonconforming youth. And not surprisingly, there's a lot of errors.
Well, yeah, you have to ask yourself, what happens when these kids grow up and say, I think I made a bad mistake,
right.
And they're sterile, and they've had their bodies mutilated. This is really, really demonic stuff.
We're very concerned when people who are held as national experts treat our children with disrespect and talk about this as though it's something our children have chosen or that it's something the parents have foisted upon the children, because that's just not true.
I wish that these producers would actually put people who care about these kids on television to talk about that, or put someone who had gone through something like that and gone through that experience, who's living visibly and out there.
Our media has become as polarized as our politics, and people consider now balanced media coverage to be a form of he said, she said, and that's not the meaning of balanced media coverage.
The boy will eventually surrender the Barbie dolls and make that identification with the father.
Really?
Look, I don't want sarcasm. Are we going to talk? I mean, we talk about our physical. I'm trying.
Very often when we look to the media for this, what they look for is someone who's pro-trans and someone who's anti-trans, instead of just trying to get to the point of what is transgender and how to approach it.
Why aren't they seeking out to really talk about the personal stories behind that, the struggles that are attached to that, the steps that need to be taken?
You'll find that a lot of media will be sensationalizing issues in order to increase viewership and earn more money. Nonprofit public media doesn't have that profit motive, so that media coverage tends to create more compassion and more empathy and more understanding and more accuracy, because they're not trying to be sensational.
In April 2012, In the Life released Becoming Me in an effort to elevate the conversation around transgender and gender nonconforming youth.
I think that what is so powerful about Becoming Me is the fact that they let the families tell their own stories. It's about the full portrait, how are families struggling through this. And I love that all of the families are open to trying to understand, open to living visibly and standing in their truth and standing by their children. When you see the child just kind of playing and being, you can see that this is not a confused child. This child knows exactly who they are.
I think the show really does a good job of presenting the different aspects of transgender youth, different ages, different forms of transgender, from full physical transformation to less than full physical transformation, and that they're all parts of the transgender experience.
Along with the episode, there was an online discussion that brought together families and experts from the show to answer viewers' questions. And It Gets Better video from parents of transgender and gender nonconforming youth.
And we want you guys to know that there is support out there and nothing to be afraid of.
It gets better.
It gets better.
It does get better.
It gets better.
Filmmaker Jonathan Skurnick is also providing fair and accurate alternatives to the mainstream media coverage. He's creating a series of short films about transgender and gender nonconforming youth through his organization, the Youth and Gender Media Project.
When I was young, I was gender nonconforming. I decided I wanted to make some films about them and also help create safe spaces for those kids. The first film that I worked on was a film called I'm Just Annika, which tells the story of a 12-year-old gender nonconforming girl who really lives in the space between male and female.
Just kind of figuring out what I should do, if I should go and trans or just stay who I am.
It's being used in schools to train their staff on how to be sensitive to gender nonconforming youth.
The media treats it with so much hype that it takes a while to strip that away and see.
Catherine Hyde, a PFLAG transgender network coordinator in Howard County, Maryland, leads training sessions in churches and other community groups to raise awareness about transgender people.
I want to start immediately with a video that I brought. It's a 10-minute video. I'm very grateful for any media coverage that enhances education and kind of undoes these stereotypes around these kids.
I think that if it's done with respect and dignity, that let's do it. Let's educate, because once somebody sees something like this, they can't shut their eyes on it.
I feel that fair and balanced reporting helps families make the tough decisions that are necessary in order to kind of support a child. When we give full portraits of what people's lives actually look like who happen to be transgender, who happen to be gender diverse, we give families the opportunity to see that, okay, maybe it's going to be okay.
It's important to get the message out there because it kind of rocks your world a little bit and makes you rethink things. So I feel like the media coverage is going to be a very positive thing.
The media is a very powerful tool to educate society in general, and so if we can put our media out there that does portray transgender and gender nonconforming youth from an accurate perspective and a sympathetic perspective, the more society will shift its attitudes.